been 5 years since I came home. The publishing of my first book, Noli Me Tangere, caused an uproar among the friars. I was warned by my dear brother Pasiano, Silvestre Obaldo, my brother-in-law, Jose M. Cecilio, also known as Chengoy, and other friends not to come home, but I did not heed their warning. I was determined to come home for several reasons. First, to operate on my mother's eyes. Second, to serve my people who had long been oppressed by Spanish tyrants. Third, to find out for myself how the publication of Noli affected the Filipinos and Spaniards in the Philippines. And fourth, to inquire why my Leonor Rivera remained silent.
Rizal left Rome by train for Marseille. On July 3, 1887, Rizal boarded the steamer Gemna. On July 30, 1887, he boarded another steamer in Saigon named Haiphong, which was bound for Manila. August 2, 1887, Haiphong left for Manila, and 3 days after, near midnight, Rizal arrived in Manila.
Manila looked the same. There seemed to be no improvement, but that doesn't matter. I'm pleased to be home. I arrived in Calamba on August 8, 1882. My family welcomed me warmly. It felt so good to be home. After the first few days of my arrival, Pasiano never left my side. It was clear that he was trying to protect me from any enemy that might attack me. I established a medical clinic, having my beloved mother as my very first patient. I did not get to operate on her eyes because her cataracts were not ripe yet. I hid under the name Dr. Uliman. I earned 900 pesos within a few months as a physician. By February of 1888, I earned a total of 5,000 pesos as medical fees. I also opened a gymnasium where I taught European sports like fencing, gymnastics, and shooting to my townmates to discourage them from gambling and cockfighting. I was depressed during my first 6 months back in Calamba. I failed to see my beautiful Leonor Rivera. I tried to visit her in Dagupan, but my parents hindered me to because Leonor's mother did not want me for a son-in-law. I had received a letter from Governor General Emilio Terrero requesting to come over the Malacañang Palace because someone had babbled to him that the Noli contained subversive ideas. When I was informed of the charge, I immediately denied it. I explained to him that I merely exposed the truth and that I did not advocate rebellious ideas. He seemed to be satisfied of my explanation. With all the curiosity, he asked for a copy of my book. I could not secure him one right away because the only copy that I brought was for a friend. I visited my former professors, Father Francisco de Paula Sanchez, Father Jose Beck, and Father Federico Fauna. They were all glad to see me. Father Fauna told me everything in it was the truth, but you may lose your head for it. They would not let go of the copies they had of Noli Me Tangere. Fortunately, I found a copy of the book from a friend, and I was able to give the Governor General a copy. Though the Governor General did not see anything wrong with my book, he knew that my life was in great peril because the friars were powerful. He assigned a young Spanish lieutenant, Don Jose Taviel de Andrade, as my bodyguard.
Messenger Pedro Payo, the Archbishop of Manila, sent a copy of the Noli to Father Rector Gregorio Echevarria of the University of Santo Tomas for examination by committee of the faculty. They said it was heretical, impious, and scandalous. The committee, which composed of Dominican professors, submitted its report to Father Rector, who immediately transmitted it to Archbishop Payo. From there, it was forwarded to Governor General Emilio Terrero. Governor General Terrero was dissatisfied with the report of the Dominicans, for he knew that they were prejudiced against Rizal. He sent it to the Permanent Commission of Censorship, which is composed of priests and laymen. With its head, Father Salvador Font, an Augustinian cura of Tondo, Noli Me Tangere was banned from importation, reproduction, and circulation in the Philippine Islands. The banning of Noli Me Tangere only made it popular. Everybody was interested in what the book contained, since the friars did not want anyone else to read it. Filipinos, feeding their curiosity, got the copies of the book and read them at night behind closed doors.
Thanks to Governor General Terrero, there was no mass imprisonment or mass execution of Filipinos. He did not let the friars intimidate him.
While Father Font focused on the banning of Noli Me Tangere, Father Jose Rodriguez, Prior of Guadalupe, published a series of 8 pamphlets under the general heading Cuestiones de Sumo Interés, Questions of Supreme Interest, to flare the Noli and other anti-Spanish writing. The 8 pamphlets were as follows. Why should I not read them? Beware of them. Why? And what can you tell me of plague? Why do the impious triumph? Do you think there is really no purgatory? Is there or is there no hell? What do you think of these libels? Confession or damnation? Copies of these pamphlets were sold daily after Mass. Many Filipinos were forced to buy them not because they wanted to displease the friars, but because they did not believe in what the author said against the friars. Rizal's greatest adversity had begun, and Rizal knew who he could trust. Few of these were Marcelo H. del Pilar, Dr. Antonio Maria Regidor, Rosana Lopez Haida, Mariano Ponce, and other Filipino reformists in foreign lands. Father Sanchez, Rizal's favorite teacher at Ateneo, defended Noli and praised it in public, while Don Sigismundo Mora, Dr. Miguel Moraita, and Professor Blumenschmidt read and liked the novel. A brilliant defense of the Noli came from an unexpected source. It was by Reverend Vicente Garcia, a Filipino Catholic priest scholar. Under the pen name Justo Desiderio Magalang, he wrote a pamphlet in defense of the Noli. This pamphlet was published in Singapore on July 18, 1888. He argued that Rizal cannot be an arrogant man, as Father Rodriguez alleged, because he was a graduate of Spanish universities and was a recipient of scholastic honors. Rizal did not attack the church in Spain, as Father Rodriguez claimed, because what Rizal attacked in the Noli were the bad Spanish officials and not Spain, and the bad and corrupt friars, not the church. Father Rodriguez said that those who had read the Noli commit a mortal sin. Since he had read the novel, therefore he also commits a mortal sin.
I was overwhelmed by the support and gratitude of Father Garcia.
At this point, the defenders and the attackers of Noli Me Tangere found it very difficult to obtain a copy. The price was set from 5 pesetas, which is equivalent to 1 peso, but later on rose to 50 pesos per copy.
A beautiful friendship flourished between Ravel and I, but this happiness with Lieutenant Andrade was marred due to several reasons. First, the death of my sister Olympia, and second, there were rumors being circulated by my enemies. They have claimed that I was a German spy, an agent of Bismarck, a Protestant, a Mason, a witch, and others more. I could tell that Governor General Terrero was bothered by the facts in Noli Me Tangere. He ordered a government investigation of the friar estates to remedy whatever crimes might have been present in the connection with the land taxes and with the tenant relations.
One of the friars' estates that was affected by the Calamba Hacienda, which the Dominican order owned since 1883, in compliance with the Governor General's orders, the civil governor of Laguna Province directed the municipal authorities of Calamba to investigate the agrarian conditions of their locality.
Governor General had called me and advised me to leave the Philippines for my own good. I knew I had to leave because first, I was jeopardizing the safety and happiness of my family and friends. Second, I realized that I could fight my enemies better and I could serve my country's cause with greater efficacy by writing in foreign countries. A good friend of mine from Lipa asked me to write a poem in commemoration of the town's elevation to a villa by virtue of the Becerra Law of 1888. I wrote Himno al Trabajo for the industrious folks of Lipa.